Memory bias involves the distortion of memories influenced by personal beliefs, emotions, or expectations. A practical example is the misinformation effect, where individuals' memories of past events are altered by misleading information presented after the event, leading to inaccuracies in eyewitness testimonies. B-roll. A person looking at a photo album, then a news report showing conflicting information about the same event. Memory bias can also be influenced by cultural factors, as different societies may have varying interpretations of events based on their values and norms. This can lead to collective memory bias, where a group of people share a distorted recollection of a past event. B-roll. A diverse group of people discussing a historical event, each sharing their own perspective. Understanding memory bias is crucial in fields such as psychology, law, and journalism, where accurate recall of events is essential. Researchers continue to study the complexities of memory formation and retrieval to better comprehend how biases can impact our understanding of the past. Implicit biases are unconscious attitudes or stereotypes that influence behavior and decision-making. An intriguing example is racial bias in healthcare, where healthcare providers may unintentionally provide lower-quality care to patients of certain racial or ethnic backgrounds, perpetuating disparities in health outcomes. Confirmation bias occurs when individuals actively seek out information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses, while dismissing contradictory evidence. An interesting example of confirmation bias is when someone strongly believes in a particular conspiracy theory and only seeks out sources that support their belief, ignoring credible evidence debunking the conspiracy. Availability bias refers to the tendency to overestimate the significance of information that is readily available in one's memory or immediate surroundings. For instance, when people assess the likelihood of rare events based on how easily they can recall examples, such as overestimating the risk of shark attacks after watching a sensationalized news report, despite the statistical rarity of such incidents. Anchoring bias occurs when individuals rely too heavily on initial information or anchors when making subsequent judgments or decisions. An example is in negotiation scenarios, where the first offer made often serves as an anchor, influencing subsequent counteroffers and final agreements, even if the initial offer was arbitrary or unreasonable. Hindsight bias, also known as the "I knew it all along" phenomenon, refers to the tendency to perceive past events as more predictable than they actually were once the outcome is known. An interesting example is when investors claim they predicted a stock market crash after it occurs, disregarding the uncertainty and unpredictability they experienced before the event. Gender bias involves stereotyping or favoring one gender over another in decision-making or treatment. For instance, in hiring processes, gender bias may occur when a traditionally male-dominated field overlooks equally qualified female candidates due to assumptions about gender roles or abilities, perpetuating gender disparities in the workforce. Reporting bias involves the selective reporting or omission of information, distorting the presentation of data. An intriguing example is the file drawer effect in scientific research, where studies with non-significant results are less likely to be published, leading to an overestimation of the effectiveness of certain interventions or treatments. Publication bias refers to the tendency to publish studies with positive or statistically significant results, distorting the scientific literature. A practical example is the pharmaceutical industry's selective publication of clinical trials showing favorable outcomes for their drugs, while suppressing trials with unfavorable results, leading to biased perceptions of drug efficacy and safety. Political bias manifests when media outlets or individuals exhibit favoritism towards specific political ideologies, resulting in skewed information dissemination. For instance, a news channel might provide biased coverage favoring a particular political party, influencing public perception and electoral outcomes. Age bias involves prejudice or discrimination based on someone's age, impacting various aspects of life. An interesting example is ageism in the workplace, where older employees may be overlooked for promotions or training opportunities due to assumptions about their capabilities or adaptability. Cognitive biases are systematic deviations from rationality or logical reasoning, affecting decision-making processes. An intriguing example is the anchoring bias, where individuals rely too heavily on initial information when making judgments, such as overestimating the value of a product based on its high starting price in negotiations. Social biases stem from preconceived notions about social groups, influencing attitudes and behaviors. A practical example is stereotype threat, where individuals underperform in academic or professional settings due to the fear of confirming negative stereotypes associated with their social group. Sampling bias occurs when the selection of individuals or groups in research is not representative of the population, leading to biased results. An interesting example is the healthy user bias in medical studies, where participants who volunteer for clinical trials may be healthier than the general population, skewing the effectiveness of treatments. Linguistic bias occurs when language choices influence perceptions and judgments, often unintentionally. An interesting example is gendered language in job advertisements, where masculine-coded words like leader may deter female applicants, perpetuating gender disparities in male-dominated fields.